Myself, Rajashekar, and you can call me Raj. And in the last session, we discussed about this full stack Java with AI codes, the outline, like what we are going to discuss in this course, the complete roadmap. These codes are divided into 8 modules, like we go with the core Java, AI tools, web technologies, database concepts, advanced Java like JDBC Servlets JSP. We go with frameworks, real-time and DevOps tools, and finally we go with a project. So initially, we are going to start off with the core Java. Then once we complete core Java, in module 2, we go with the AI tools. Like we'll introduce about what is this AI. We'll try to understand about what is this large language models. And we'll understand about generative AI and how to create test or code or images, videos like that using generative AI. And very important one, prompt engineering. So this is mainly to communicate with AI. Then we'll be learning the top AI tools like ChatGPT, Claude AI, Gemini, Notebook LM, and Perplexity. And we'll even learn how to make use of this AI for coding and debugging. So this AI doesn't mean that I'm going to start over here only. So in between, when I'm discussing core part only, in between only, I'll start making use of AI tools, right? Then in module 3, we go with the web technologies like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap, TypeScript, XML, JSON, Angular, and even React. Module 4, we go with database concepts using MySQL. Module 5, we discuss about advanced Java, Java EE, where we go with JDBC, Servlets, and JSP. Module 6, very important one, where we discuss about the frameworks like Hibernate framework, Spring and Spring Boot framework. And in this Spring and Spring Boot, we'll understand about Spring Core module. What is this dependency injection and inversion of control? And we go with the Spring Boot introduction, the meaning of Spring Boot starters, and how to develop Spring Boot application using Spring Initializer and STS. Then we go with the Spring JDBC module, even we call DAO module. We understand about Spring Data JPA module. Spring Web MVC, mainly used to create web applications. REST module to develop REST APIs, mainly for distributed applications. Application to application communication, we do by using this REST APIs. Then we go with Spring Security module, Spring AI module, and even we'll learn how to use this Gen AI using Spring AI. Then we even discuss how to go with this microservices using Spring Boot. In module 7, we'll learn the important tools like Maven, GitHub, Lombok, Postman, JUnit, Log4j, and Docker. So these are the real-time and DevOps tools what we use during our project. And finally, we go with full stack Java project using Spring Boot and microservices as backend and Angular as frontend. This complete course duration goes for 3 months, approximately 60 hours. The classes will be from Monday to Friday and at 6 p.m. IST, and the class will go for maximum 1 hour. And whatever the class notes I am typing, even the source codes what we write in future, the recordings of the class will be shared within 3 hours. Remember, within 3 hours, I'll be sharing, and you can download it on your local machine. So once you download on your local machine, that means it is lifetime access to you. And whatever the GoToMeeting link we are using, the link is permanent till end of the course. You can use same link to join this course, right? Then, so the people who did not send, yes, Gautam.
Any middleware technologies are we covering in this session, like WebSphere or Apache?
We are to use servers, right? I'm going to use Tomcat server in our course. Server is very important.
Tomcat, okay.
Yeah, we'll be using Tomcat. Once you know one server, we can manage other servers very easily. And however, we go for Spring Boot, no? So Spring Boot comes with embedded Tomcat server. So no need to worry about server also when we go with Spring Boot. Clear, Gautam?
So we'll be using trial versions of those servers, or we have to
The Tomcat server no trial version. It is complete
All these are open
open
source.
source. Yeah,
Okay.
open source.
Yeah. Thanks.
So the people who did not send the test mail, you can send the mail to this rajonlinejava@gmail.com. And when you are sending the mail, just mention your name once again in the mail ID and your contact number. Right? Yeah. So this one what we discussed in the last session. And coming to today's part, I'm going to start off with the topic called as programming concepts. Programming concepts. So today it won't take much time to complete. From Monday onwards, the class will go near to 1 hour. Before we enter into any programming language like C or C++ or Java, .NET or Python, we should have a basic idea on programming concepts. Once we have basic idea on programming concepts, entering into any programming language will be easy for us. So from the next class, as we are going to start with Java, before we enter into Java, we'll understand the important terminologies, what we use in the program, so that entering into Java will be easy for us. As we are going to write the programs, what is the meaning of program? How will you define this program? How to define a program is like, a program is a set of instructions given to a computer to perform a task. What is this program? It is the set of instructions given to a computer to perform a task. What is the meaning of task? Like finding area of a rectangle, finding total marks of a student, finding net salary and gross salary of an employee, adding a book into the library, booking a movie ticket, transferring funds from one account to other account, paying bills. These all things we call them as task. To perform this task, we have to give some set of instructions. That instructions only we call program. When you are writing the program, we should know some of the important terminologies. The first one is comments. When we are writing the program, we should elaborate about our program in our own words. Like what is the purpose of writing that code? Who is writing? On which date you are writing? Why we are writing that statement? More elaboration of your logic. That we can do in our own words. That only we call documentation. To do the documentation of your program, we make use of comments. You can say comments are used to document a program and ignored by the programming language. It is ignored by the language. Okay. We are having two types of comments. They are single line comments, which is // and multi-line comments, which is /* and end with again */. Like example, you can say // to transfer funds from one account to another account. One more example, like /* multi-line comment. So to add a item into the cart, to add an item into the cart, like this. Okay, this is multi-line comment. And whatever we write, it is ignored by your language. Okay. The next important term here is keyword. The meaning of keyword is like, when you take any programming language like C or C++, Java, .NET, there will be some predefined words which are understood by the language directly. These words only we call keywords. You can define like a keyword is a reserved word or predefined word whose meaning is known to the language directly. So the programming language will understand these words automatically. Examples like class, public, private, static, void, int, float, char, try, catch, like this. If, switch, while, do, for, like this. Okay. So when we come to Java, we learn the keywords related to Java. And whatever the keywords I mentioned here, it's related to Java. Next one, variable. Whenever we want to hold some data, we require some memory space to hold the data. The name what we give to the memory space to hold data, that names only we call variables. Like example, you are allocating memory space to store book ID. You are allocating some memory space to store book name. You are allocating some memory space to store book price. Book price, like this. So the name what we are using to hold the data, these names like book ID, book name, book price, these names only we call variables. How to define a variable is like, a variable is an identifier, a name. A variable is an identifier which allocates some memory space to hold the data. Which allocates some memory space to hold the data. Like examples, I can take the examples like book ID, then customer address, employee salary, student name, like this. These are some of the examples of variables. Next important one, data type. Data. Once we allocate memory space for variable, like example, if I go with age, when I go with age, in age, generally we store a value, a numeric value without any decimal point. So this we call integer. If you are allocating some memory space, like example, item name, we are going with what? Item name. In item name, we store something like, for example, like keyboard. I'm storing something like keyboard. So here it's a collection of characters, collection of alphabets. We call it as string. If you are allocating some memory space, like example like price. So we say something like 75.50. So when you are having a numeric value with a decimal point, a numeric value with a decimal point, we call it as float. Call it as what? Float. So the type of data, what a variable holds, that is the meaning of data type. How to define is like, type of data the variable holds is called as data type. Some of the basic data types, the examples of data types are like, we are having integer, float, char, string, like this. So whatever I'm discussing, it's only entry point to Java. Once we enter into Java, and when I start with Java basics, we'll be discussing more elaboration about all this. More elaboration about variables, data types, everything. Once again, I'm going to discuss mainly related to Java. So the examples of integers are, Examples of integer are any numeric value without any decimal point. Positives are negatives. Examples of floats are like a numeric value with a decimal point. Even positives are negatives. Examples of characters. Examples of characters are like only one symbol enclosed in single quotes, like A, something like T, something like V, any symbol like 9, and symbol like this. In only one symbol enclosed in single quotes are characters. Examples of string are collection of characters enclosed in double quotes. Collection of characters enclosed in double quotes. So it can be anything. Collection of characters or alphabets enclosed within double quotes. We call them as string. Clear up to get the terminologies? Meaning of comments, keywords, variables, and data types. Any questions, anyone? Moving to the next one, declaration of variable. Declaration of variable. If I want to store a value into the variable, we should allocate some memory space for variable. If you want to allocate some memory space for variable to hold data, we need to declare it. So what is the need of declaration? In order to allocate memory space for variable, we need to declare the variable. We need to declare the variable. And the syntax of declaring variable is, the meaning of syntax in programming languages is rules of the language, rules of your programming language, like grammatical rules. The rule for declaring a variable is, we have to mention the data type, space, variable list, like variable 1, variable 2, like that, variable n. And in most of the programming languages like C, C++, Java, .NET, every statement should end with semicolon. So this C, C++, Java, .NET, these 4 languages follows almost same syntaxes. Like example, you can say int, item number, then item number, then you can say like quantity, then float, item price, string, item name, like this. So once you declare variable, once you mention data type and the variable, then only it is going to allocate memory space for this variable. Without declaring, if you are trying to use that variable, it goes with error. So before we use any variable in our program, we need to declare it. How to declare? By mentioning data type and the name of the variable. Coming to the next and important one, this is the main topic in order to enter into Java, that is method or function. This is the main topic. How to define a method is like, a method is a subprogram, means a part of the program. A method is a subprogram which is used to do a specific task. A method is what? It is a subprogram which is used to do a specific task. Like example, we want to find area of a rectangle. In order to find area of a rectangle, I am taking the method name like this, area rect. I am taking the method name area rect. And how it looks, we go with the name of the method. You can even say function. So we take the method name, then we go with the parenthesis. and open and close curly braces, meaning where the method starts, where the method ends. Now, in order to find the area of a rectangle, what is the formula? Length into breadth, right? Length into breadth is the formula. So to find area of a rectangle, what data do we require? Length and breadth. That we need to pass in between this parenthesis like this. Int length, comma, int breadth. So why we are mentioning data type? So that it is going to allocate memory space for these variables. This length and breadth are called as arguments or parameters. Length and breadth, we call them as what? Arguments or parameters. Now, what is the formula to find area? Area equal to length into breadth. Area equal to what? Length into breadth. See, I'm using a variable area. So if I want to use a variable area, we need to declare it. So declare the variable int area. Now, so when you are writing some code inside the method, we call it as defining the method. When you are writing some code inside the method, when you are creating the method, we call it as defining the method. Now let us call the method. How to call? Calling the method. How to call? See, like this. Area array, and we can pass the values like 10, 5. So this only we call calling. So when you go with the method name, in parentheses, if you pass some values, end with the semicolon, I'm calling the method. So when I call the method, what is going to happen over here is this 10 will go and store into length variable, length argument. 5 will go and store into breadth argument. Then what will be the value of area will be? What is the value of area will be? 50, right? The value of area will be 50. The result is 50. 10 into 5, 50. This result, I want to give back to this method. The result we want to give back to the method. How to give this result back to the method is by using a keyword called as return. We have to use what keyword? Return area. So when you say return area, based on our example, the value of area is 50. That 50 will come and store into this method. Once that result comes and stores into method, I can even store into some other variable and I can print here. Print area. So what value we get here? So nothing rule that this variable name and this variable name should be same. It can be anything. I can, to avoid confusion, I'll say area rect. So here I'll print area rect, which is going to print 50. Now, the main important point over here is the value what you are returning, this area what you are returning, this area is what data type? Integer. The area is what data type? Integer. So before the method name, we have to mention the data type what you are returning. Before the method name, we have to mention the data type what you are returning. So mentioning data type what you are returning is called as what? Return type. Just a second. So mentioning data type what you are returning before the method name, this we call it as what? Return type. This one we call return type. So this is the main concept for me in order to enter into Java. So today we are not worried about how to write the program, only terminologies like return type, the meaning of return type, the meaning of keyword, the meaning of variable, like this. Okay, so what is the return type of this method? The return type of area rect method is integer. Clear the concept of return type, all of you?
Yes.
One question, sir. Area is already defined as integer inside the method, right?
Right.
So when you're returning, obviously area will be written in the form of integer only, right? Why should we
Right.
define the method again as integer?
Again, we have to define. It's a syntax rule. Java
Syntax,
follows this syntax rule.
If by
So
mistake, if
because
we
of,
give any other data types for the
like
method,
example, if you are giving like char, it will go
correct?
with error. It
Error,
goes
right?
with
Okay.
error. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks. Yeah.
So because of this, like mentioning data type to your argument, mentioning the return type, these are all already we know what it is returning, right?
Correct.
Already we know what it is returning. So why to mention once again? Why to mention once again? So because of this reason only, in Java, they have given for us lambda expressions. So we are having a concept of lambda expression. So what you mentioned before, I need not do once again.
Okay.
So that because that feature got added for us. Okay. So that you won't understand directly now. Once we complete all object-oriented exceptions, then only we can understand that concept properly. Even collections
Okay.
also. Okay.
Fine.
It's the advanced part for us. Now, if I take the same method, I'm taking same method. Instead of returning, I want to print here only. I don't want to give this area outside of the method. I'm printing over here only. So if you are not returning any value outside of the method, then we have to use a keyword called as void. We have to use what keyword? Void. So void means no return type. So this is the main thing what I require to enter into Java. Because in tomorrow's session, I'm going to use this void keyword. So when I use this void keyword in my Java introduction, we should not feel confused what is this void. So because of this reason only, I have discussed all these terminologies today. Right? Clear the meaning of void?
Yes.
Let me take one more example. I'm taking the method print message, which takes string message as argument. Then I'm going to print it. I'm going to print that message. So this we call defining. Now, if you observe in this method, are we returning any value? No. So if you are not returning any value, what keyword we had used before? Method void. Now, when I call it here, print message, welcome to all. So what will happen now? This welcome to all will go and store into this message argument, which is getting printed on our screen. So in this method, since I'm not returning any value outside, we are using void here. No return type means void. Now, one more example. We are taking a method calculate total. I'm taking the method calculate total, which takes arguments like float, mark1, float, mark2, float, mark3, like this. So I'm taking what? Calculate total method, where we are going with the arguments mark1, mark2, and mark3. Right? In this, we are taking one variable, float, total, and we'll write here total equal to mark1 plus mark2 plus mark3. Then we return this total value. We return the total. Now let us call the method. How to call? We'll say float total marks equal to, I'm calling the method calculate total, where I'll pass something like 50.0, 60.0 and 70.0. So what will happen now? These three values, 50 will go and store into mark 1, 60 will go and store into mark 2, 70 will go and store into mark 3. Now, if I print these total marks, what we get here? 180.0, right? Now you say, what is the return type of this calculate total method? What is the return type? Very
Float.
good. What is the return type here? Float. Whatever the value you are returning, this total is what type? Float type. So before the method, we have to mention here float. So this concept is important for me to enter into Java. So more about the return type. Okay. So what is the meaning of method? And we are not worried today how to write the code inside method. We are not worried today. Okay. So our worry is only when I'm going with the method, we mention something like void type. Void means what? No return type. If the method is not returning any value outside of method, we have to use void keyword. Right? So what we discussed today, we just started with our programming concepts. Like we discussed about the meaning of program, the meaning of comments, keywords, variable, data type, and how to declare a variable, the concept of method or function, and the main thing, return type. Okay. Now, once we start off with the basics, once we go with the Java basics, we are going to discuss more in depth of all these concepts, more in depth. And I'm going to do, or we are going to do a lot of example programs on this. And even I'm going to give assignments related to this. So once you practice the programs in basics, our logical skills are the way we write the code in the form of methods will get increased. Right? So today, don't worry at all how we are writing the code. That is not the concept of today's. We are going to start writing the code only once we start off with the basics part. We'll be writing our own programs. Only terminologies. Today is like terminologies. So that when I use the term variable, when I use the term keyword, when I use the term method, when I use the term return type, you should understand the words. Just we have to recap it. What that word is. That's the main objective of discussing today's class. Right? And in tomorrow's session, I'll be going with the Java introduction, where we discuss about Java introduction and even Java features. Then after that, next class will be on Monday, 4th day, where we'll enter into the practical part, where we'll be learning how to download and install Java and even how to develop Java applications. The complete practical part will start from day 4 onwards. Right? Yeah. 1 second. Hello, Uday. Uday, please send a test mail. I did not receive your email ID. Please send a test mail to rajonlinejava@gmail.com. Please send the test mail to me so that I'll take care of sending notes and recordings with you. And please mention your name once again in the mail and even your contact number. So let me stop here for today, and tomorrow let us continue with the Java introduction. Thank you all. Thank you very much.